35 years ago, I smelled a rose in a bottle. I had just graduated from City College, go Parsnips, and was bumming around. When my brother got back from Coast Guard training, we were going to get an apartment back home in Toledo. Until then, I needed money to cover 3 months' rent in Queens. I thought I'd put my fancy new chemistry degree to use. I found a job listing for a lab technician in the city at a company I had never heard of, LaFleur International. I applied and was offered an interview. LaFleur International occupied the whole Manhattan skyscraper. The moment I passed through its revolving doors, I smelled it. Barbecue potato chips. It smells like the 4th of July, I told the receptionist.
That's the flavor lab.
She checked my name in the system.
You're headed to the top, to fragrance.
The 30th floor smelled better than barbecue. It was mysterious, like a garden inside a candle store. The floors were polished, and everyone was wearing nice pants. A big guy with a gray stripe in his goatee introduced himself.
Dale Gribowitz, shall we begin?
We shall, I chuckled. He chuckled too. Dale led me to a glass-walled laboratory, unlike any of the labs at school. No one wore goggles or gloves. It smelled fantastic. The shelves were translucent and suspended from the ceiling. It looked like hundreds of amber bottles floating in tidy little rows.
Can you use a scale?
You betcha.
Are you good with numbers?
Most of them. I liked Dale, which is why I felt comfortable sharing a wisecrack.
All right, smart guy. Take a look at this label. You understand it?
Dale reached into a refrigerator full of misty black-capped bottles. He handed me one labeled Rose Absolute. It had all these little numbers everywhere. I could understand most of them. This was the density, this was the storage temperature, and it had other stuff for cataloging.
Give it a sniff.
I thought this was another test. In the lab, there's a proper way to smell chemicals. You waft it with a hand, then take a little whiff. I started to do this, and Dale, he smirked and shoved the dang thing under my nose.
Come on, kid. Stick your honker in there.
And it was a rose. Not a synthetic rose, not a rose candle, or rose laundry detergent. It was a rose, reduced to oil, sitting inside a bottle. I could smell the morning dew on the petals, the peaty soil, the fresh green of the stem. It was alive. That alone would have been enough.
All right. Let me show you the oil library.
But as Dale led me to the next spot, I received the final shove from fate.
Oh, shit.
Dale slapped up an arm to hold me in place. Heels clacked down the hall. 2 people trailed behind her, one with a notepad and the other juggling 3 handbags, a blue-dyed Pomeranian poking its head out of one. Every worker in the lab perked up, put on their protective eyewear and gloves. Her voice boomed off the walls.
I don't care how many mice died. We're keeping cocoa synthetic.
Her black hair shone like a lamp. Every fold of her outfit was intentional, coordinated down to the buttons. I had never seen someone so successful. A door closed and she was gone.
I've worked here 10 years,
Dale said.
and that's my first time seeing her.
Who? Dale blinked at me and responded like I had just asked him, "What's that bright light in the sky?"
That's Anna LaFleur.
Outside the subway entrance, I called my brother. "Chet," I said, "I'm not going to Toledo." He asked me why. "Because I'm going to make perfume." I used to tell that story to clients. It was a happy memory. Like a lot of things, it changed after all the dogs died. Fragrance Surplus is inside what used to be a New Jersey Pizza Hut. My office is where they had the women's bathrooms. You could see a dip in the floor where the toilets were. I've been here for 25 years. Got my certificate at the Christmas party. We bid for fragrance contracts with the disinfectant industry, mostly the bathroom division. I smell toilet cleaners, toilet scrubbers, liquid plumbers, toilet bowl, stick and forget cleaning pods, and toilet sprays. Then I say something like, what if we had peppermint? It's not a bad job. I have fun. One of the new sprays is called electric bubblegum. I can afford takeout, so I order lunch from all the local restaurants. I used to get a lot of Quiznos, but from the parking lot I could see the Manhattan skyline. It stirred up regret. Why'd you give up? You could have been a perfumer. If I dwell long enough, I start thinking about all the dogs. That's a ticket to a bad day. Today I have takeout from Hal and Hardy Soups. I'm eating in the fragrant surplus lunchroom when a kid, maybe 23, sits nearby. Just a little guy, but from his tie and neatly parted hair, I can tell he's a go-getter. He sees me, pulls down his mask so I can see his smile.
I'm Jemery, just started last week.
Jemery is chatty, says he works in shipping. He tells me about his car, his apartment, where he went to school. Then he asks the question.
Did you have a dog?
I'm quiet.
You're old enough, right? So did you have one?
This happens sometimes. The concept of dogs sticks in a lot of kids' brains. Some get obsessed. Others are just curious. Yeah, I had one.
I knew it. I can always spot 'em. Dog owners. What was its name?
I try to avoid it, but I think of my dog. Got him when I turned 12. Still a spry, happy pup when I was 26, living in the city, a junior perfumer at Lafleur. I thought he would live forever. Glover.
Glover. Weird. Did it die in the dog plague?
Yes.
The quick variant or the slow one?
Memories come back in pieces. Glover liked people food, but it gave him the worst farts. Mom banned him from eating jelly beans after that Easter when he ate a whole bag. The farts were so bad we had to go outside, laughing and gagging. He'd nip and bite a lot of people, but not me. Glover was my dog. I think of his little body shaking with each cough, his fur falling out in clumps. I'm trying to eat my lunch.
I bet you can't remember.
I'm sorry?
Hey, it's okay if you forget. It was so long ago. Do you ever have a hard time remembering?
I shift in my seat. What's he getting at? Sometimes.
Have you ever tried, Blur?
Now I see. I smile and shake my head. I'm not, a drug person.
It's a supplement.
Jemery corrects me.
And yeah, it feels good. Well, what's wrong with that? Lots of people your age use it. I mean, I can get you 5 for 100.
I shake my head, but I don't smile this time. He sticks his hand in a pocket, pulls out a single orange pill, and places it on my napkin.
Ask me if you want more. My cousin has a connection.
Jemery leaves. I can't finish my soup. At his age, I discovered my passion. Him, he's dealing supplements. I guess I'm not surprised. He grew up without dogs. A whole generation with just cats and ferrets. No fetch, no bones and rawhide. No doggies go woof woof. I pick up the pill. My little Glover. I put it in my breast pocket. The big-time perfumers have their own technicians who do all their fragrance compounding. That's what I did at Lafleur. Like a chef you give a recipe to, but paid a lot less. At Fragrance Surplus, I compound my own. The inventory isn't what it used to be. Most of the naturals went extinct. The Belgians found a way to save the floral notes, but they lost lavender. Sometimes I dream I remember what it smells like. I read an article about a painter who died by suicide. It was a long chain that led to his end. The dogs died, the virus was found, culprits were charged. The WHO regulated horticulture, grain demand fell, alfalfa harvests plummeted. This left no waste material for the pigment manufacturers to buy. And Ivy Green, number 42, his green, disappeared. The guy lost his mind, carved all the green out of his paintings with a knife, made himself a cocoon of scraps, suffocated. A little morbid for my taste, but folks pay to see the cocoon, say it's pretty neat. I'm not comparing myself to a painter or anything, but looking at the gaps in my shelves, I get it. When you know what used to exist, the void can make you goofy. I'm working on a cupcake scent bowl spray when Janet knocks on my door. Even through her mask, I can see a grin.
Ched, follow me, now.
I chase after her. We walk and talk, just like on TV.
LaFleur Manhattan just laid off 20 perfumers.
Oh no, that's too bad.
What? No, dum-dum. Now they've got all these past due contracts and no one to fill them. They're putting big stuff up for bid. They're even letting us submit.
Janet and I arrive at Burvley's office. Burvley is midway through a speech to the rest of the team.
LaFleur is our new top priority. Tell Tidy Flush to take a hike. We need to ship smelling samples by 10 a.m. tomorrow, so get to work. Now. Project briefs are in your inbox.
Everyone is running for their offices. The mood is incredible. It's like there's a big Powerball. What kind of project is this? I ask Burvley. She grins at me.
Fine fragrance.
I run so fast I hurt my toe. Back in my office, I open my inbox, read the message. Millions of dollars at stake, all resting on a 5-gram smelling sample at 15% alcohol. How Fragrance Surplus made the cut, I don't know, but all of a sudden I'm hungry for Quiznos. Janet knocks on my door when she leaves for the night.
You have a submission yet?
Bottles are all over my counter, scent blotters piled up in the trash. No, not yet.
Well, don't stay too late. We have a better chance winning the lottery.
I check my watch, 9:30. I promise I'll leave after one more trial. The brief calls the project Primal Love, a new unisex fragrance line, upscale musk, similar to fragrances like Ascension, Sussex, and Body Pillow. I don't really know what this means. I've been trying to mix a woody base with leather and cannabis extract. My other tries all smelled like sweaty toilet bowl cleaners. I dip the blotter in the solution and sniff. Smells like a bad rock concert. I throw it away. Oh, Ched, I tell myself, you never stood a chance. I slick off my gloves and turn off the vent. I could have been a perfumer once, but I can barely recall that person. The man I am now makes toilet smells, and that's all he's good for. I put on my coat and zip it up to my chin when my hand brushes against my shirt pocket. There's a tiny pill inside. I unzip my jacket and take the pill out. What did the kid call it? Blur? It's such a little pill. Those fish oil tablets I take, now those are scary pills. This is cute. If there was anyone left in the office, I probably wouldn't take it. But I'm all alone and I'm getting nostalgic, thinking of my early days, the city, Glover. I go to the water cooler, pull down my mask, slip the pill in, and swallow. It tastes like a Skittle. I wonder how long until the effects start. Normally, I check the pill bottle for that kind of information. It strikes me just how foolish I am. My heart is racing, and the sweat in my armpits turns cold. Ched, you're gonna give yourself a heart attack. Then I smell it. It's my childhood home. A structure that no longer exists, and a wood that is now paved over. I smell the old cedar of the floor, the aged plastic of my toys. Goodness gracious. Then I start to see it too. It's like hiccups. For a blip at a time, an image overlays what I see. The Fragrance Surplus hallways, dark and empty, are at the same moment my childhood living room. I remember how the furniture was arranged around the flat screen, the pathway to the patio door. I smell rain. I startle at the sound. It comes from the reception desk. I get another hiccup of the past. The desk becomes the glass of our patio door, and there's a silhouette on the other side. Glover? I walk to the hallucination, and the lines of the door match up with the front of the desk. I run my hand along it, and the door glides open. The smell overwhelms me, a smell I had forgotten existed, like rank almonds, dirty mushrooms, and sulfur. Glover is soaked in rain. He shakes hard, and I feel the water splash my face. I wipe my cheek and feel honest-to-goodness raindrops. Glover, my dog is alive. I run towards him. He thinks I'm trying to play. Glover backs up, thrusts his butt in the air, and yips. Stay, Glover. He never was good at listening. My long-dead dog races down the hall, and though my knees ache, I give chase. Stop. Come here, boy. I corner Glover in my office. He's wearing the red bandana my mother used to tie around his neck. My throat pulls tight. We connect eyes, and Glover runs to me. I hold my arms open. Old memories come back so clearly. The friction of his haggard coat, his hot dog breath, the playful nip of a powerful jaw, and that mildew aroma. I've missed you. I pull my arms together to embrace my oldest friend. My arms collide with my chest. Glover? I hear the barking, but the body is gone. I hold nothing. The blur begins to fade, but his smell remains. Don't go, I say. Come back. After that, I don't know. It's kind of hard to piece together. I'm crying, but also busy. I look at the bottles in my inventory, but they aren't what I saw this morning. I reach for bottles that shouldn't exist, inhale aromas I haven't smelled in years. The weight on my scale increases with each pour. Pipettes fill my trash. Then, it all goes black. I wake up under my desk. My face is hot, but my hands are cold. I'm holding a clear bottle, splashing with 5 grams of pale yellow alcohol. Somewhere distant, I hear a voice.
Oh my God, this smells good.
I check my watch. 9:54 a.m. Mail goes out in 6 minutes. I run for Burvley's office and see the whole team inside. I'm panting, eyes bloodshot. These are yesterday's clothes. I feel like a promiscuous co-ed.
Ched, I didn't see you come in.
Janet shouts. Morning, I say, trying to hide my face with my little eval bottle. I swing my hand over the outgoing tray, but hesitate. The project brief comes back to mind. What am I thinking? This isn't what they asked for. It's hardly even a fragrance. It's an experiment. I try to slip the bottle into my pocket.
Ched, didn't you hear me?
Janet grabs my hand.
I said, I want to smell your submission.
I now see the blotters in everyone's hands, tips colored by oil. Oh, it's not... Janet has the bottle before I can stop her. She unscrews the cap, and at once my mind floods with Glover. Glover in the pool, Glover on a walk, Glover in a bath. Janet dips a blotter inside.
Oh, hush. None of us are winning it, except maybe Ralph. God, that smelled good. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. Let's see what you...
She takes a deep sniff and her face scrunches up.
Oh, God!
What? What is it?
Now the other odorists are reaching for the blotter. Becca takes a big sniff and dry heaves. Graber takes a whiff and snorts out of his nose like a dog who sniffed mustard.
Jesus, Chet! Oh, gross!
What the fuck is that?
Janet demands. It's just a joke, I say. I wasn't really going to submit. The blotter makes its way to Burvley. She's just a couple years younger than me, and when she sniffs, her face doesn't sour. Her eyes glimmer, and she gives me this sorrowful look.
You're wild, Chet.
Graber laughs.
You better submit. I'd love to see crazy old LaFleur get a whiff of this.
I don't know.
Says one of the younger guys.
It kind of grows on you. It's
He shakes in a sudden spasm.
evocative.
You're submitting it.
Burvley says with a tone of finality.
We're all submitting.
Everyone leaves. People give me odd looks. My ears are red. I try to leave when Burvley stops me.
Why would you make that?
A tear rolls down her cheek. I can't answer. LaFleur International announces the contract winner on Friday. The winner is from IBB, the number 2 fragrance house. No one is surprised. We make commode smell good. It's not the same as what perfumers do. I still have the trial oil of the wet dog smell, maybe 80 grams. I dump it in the waste potpourri. Wet dog mixes with the cast-off oil of 100 failed projects. The smell fades, absorbed and overpowered. Goodbye, Glover. I return to my office, but I can't bring myself to work. I fake a cough and tell Burvley I need the afternoon. I'm back at my house while the sun is still out. 522 Brandywine Drive is always empty when I'm not there, but today it feels lonelier. I can hear a dog barking in my memory. The old commands come back. Down, boy, down. No jumping. Gentle, gentle. But no one is waiting for me. I should finally get a ferret. I'm all choked up. I wish I had another pill. I wish I kept the oil. I make a point of turning off my phone. I close all the blinds, pour myself a wine, and turn on the TV. There's a documentary on about an artist who carves figures into melting glaciers. She puts human faces on the diminishing ice walls, cuts floating chunks into Titanic passengers. She's talking about Buddhist sand mandalas, how real art should comment on the world's unbearable briefness. I fall asleep on the couch. I wake up at 9 p.m. to honking. I figure it's a bus trapped behind someone parallel parking. Honking won't stop. Goodness gracious. The couch squeaks as I roll off and stumble to the window. There's no bus outside. A limo is waiting in my driveway. Someone knocks at my door. I open it, grateful I didn't change into pajamas. Hello?
Good evening, Mr. Enbeef.
Says a fella in a chauffeur outfit. Yes?
You haven't been answering your phone. Are you ready?
I get goose prickles all up and down my arms. No. I shake my head. I mean, maybe. Ready for what?
Your contract signing.
He enunciates all the words clearly, but I'm sure I mishear him. My what?
Your contract. With Lefleur?
I go quiet and wide-eyed.
Anna Lefleur?
No, I know who you're talking about. I just, I need a second. I take a seat on my welcome mat. Goodness gracious. The fella drives me right into the city. Even though I live nearby, it's been years since I crossed the river. The lights are so bright. Thousands of people on the sidewalks, their face masks all so stylish and colorful. Doubts are running marathons in my mind. I should have dressed up more. They must mean some other contract. They already announced that guy from IBB. Maybe I'm in trouble. We drive up Madison and pull to the side of a building I used to know. The driver doesn't follow me inside. I can still remember the Lafleur laboratories from when I first arrived. When I saw those rows of shining bottles, the grand marble floors, everything dustless and glimmery, I thought I had made it. The elevator doors open, and I see what time has done. The place is as empty as my house. Glass shelves are stacked against the walls of a gutted lab. Cardboard boxes line the corners. Outlines on the floor where a reception desk used to be. Holes in the wall where the art used to hang.
She's been waiting,
an old voice whispers, and I jump. In the dim fluorescent light stands a man in butler black. He's at least 80 years old, back bent like a boomerang. He holds an IV bag under his armpit, the other hand beckoning to his staircase. Okay. The butler ascends the steps slowly. I help him with the last couple.
Thank you, sir.
The top floor is a private penthouse. Even if I had stuck it out to be a perfumer, I might have never seen it. This is Anna Lafleur's Manhattan home, right above her labs. Fog obscures the top of skyscrapers out the windows, tattered flags flapping from the tops of buildings below. Where there aren't windows, frames cover every inch of walls, though I don't notice what's inside. My eyes are drawn to the bed. It's one of those robot surgical beds I saw on TV, a bed of Theseus. Painless, automated surgery. 5 a day if you need. Silver prehensile squid arms are cauterizing webs of veins from her legs as I enter, so her face illuminates and flickers.
Took you long enough.
Anna LaFleur has aged, but not in the way I'm used to. Her skin is sleeker, all her angles sharp. Her black hair is iridescent, more like vinyl than anything human. It's hard to look at her, like one of those paintings where the eyes follow you. She must be 120.
I knew you'd be old.
She says, a slight digital phase to her tone. I'm not that old.
Old enough to remember.
She laughed. The bed whirs and groans.
How many dogs did you have?
Just Glover.
What?
Yeah. Glover. Her face wrinkles strangely, like a mouse pad.
Oh, you poor man. I had many.
Anna LaFleur beckons to the walls, and I take them in. Dozens of photos of dogs, oil paintings, and faded photographs. Some are new, featuring animals I'm not quite sure are dogs.
I tried to bring them back. It didn't work. Nothing worked. The closest I got, it wasn't a dog anymore. It had fur, teeth, but none of the mannerisms. Not even like a wolf, but a mongoose. Vicious. I was confined to my bed for weeks.
The arms of her bed finish her legs and shift up to her abdomen. One lays a row of injections across her belly, while another squid arm begins stripping skin in squares. I taste something rising in my throat.
I'm out of business, as I imagine you've noticed.
Yeah, I heard how you fired, had to let go all those perfumers.
Not fired, dear. Died.
Excuse me?
Died. Dead. D-E-A-D. I pushed for some back-channel raw materials. I thought the regulations were extraneous. I was very wrong.
Oh,
Another one is coming. Bigger than with the dogs. It's going to happen to the birds next.
I don't know how to respond to that.
In 2 months, a day before the supposed winning fragrance of our final contract is released, we will announce an abrupt change in plans. A stunning denouement. A work of fragrance art. I'm speaking of your submission, of course.
There's a heaviness in the pit of my stomach.
We'll need to modify it. Yours was much too obvious. More like a parlor trick than a real fragrance. We'll add shades and complexity, but the core is there. I won't be able to afford the bed after the launch, and it will soon expire. I've witnessed so much loss. Not just the dogs. My ingredients, my fragrances, all cut to ribbons. It's like an article I read about the painter who lost his green.
I read that too. How could I tell her?
I do not know how you captured it. But it's the only real fragrance I've smelled in decades. Graceless as it is the only goodbye that will do.
Yes, about that.
Do not dawdle.
Out
with it.
I don't have the oil anymore. Even the arms of the bed stopped moving. I threw it away. Anna LaFleur stares at me, through me, and I don't know how I made it.
Yet, you did. How did you make it the first time?
Well, I wasn't exactly sober. Her bed rattles, and she bends upward with a crack of bone.
Out with it!
I was on a supplement. The worry eases from LaFleur's face. A frail but wrinkle-free hand reaches for a bell and rings it. I hear the butler's niece popping up the steps.
Oh, for fuck's sake. I thought you were talking about a real problem.
The butler approaches with a silver tray, pills of different colors shining in decorative containers.
Anything you like, sir.
I'm taken aback. It's different with witnesses. Eyes cast to the marble floor, I pick out a single orange pill. LaFleur smirks.
Of course. It's good quality. My dealer's cousin has a connection. There's a lab across the room. Chop, chop.
I pop the pill and slump to the lab, the taste of Skittles in my mouth. The butler creaks his old body behind me, but the pops and groans are overlaid with animal sounds. I can hear Glover. I can smell him. Though I do not know this laboratory, Glover guides me from bottle to bottle as the butler takes notes.
Pera straight, 0.8 grams. Fenugreek synthetic at 10%.
The rain of memory patters on the shelves, puddles around my feet.
Castoreum natural, Arocostas.
Behind me, LaFleur slips 4 orange pills into her mouth. The butler offers her a blotter of my oil in progress. LaFleur cries as she inhales.
Jingles. My little jingles.
In the fall, Anna LaFleur releases her final fragrance. Canine is a hit. Everyone old enough to remember dogs is moved by the fragrance. It's more than a perfume. It's a memory aid. I see a news report about retirement homes saving up to buy bottles. I watch news clips of old folks crying, sharing stories.
It smells just like him. A big dog. But he couldn't hurt a fly.
Sweet, sweet thing. And his name was Mr. Downtown. I couldn't remember that for the life of me.
An old woman just weeps.
It's like she's here again.
But the elderly aren't the only buyers. For most consumers, Canine is not nostalgia, but a divisive new odor. The initial reaction tends to be disgust. It inspires thoughts of mold and waterlogged feces. I bet you 10 to 1 these are cat people. Though dogs don't exist anymore, there are still dog people deep down in their core. These folks take a whiff of Canine and they change. I didn't believe it until I saw the video. There are a bunch of people in lab coats strapping a volunteer to an upright board. A woman in a ventilator suit sprays my fragrance inches from his face and backs away. Seconds later, his jaw goes slack. He suffers a violent spasm. He begins screaming, face contorted red with agony. He breaks free of his restraints and the camera crashes to static. I guess my scent goes deeper than the nose. It burrows inside, bounces around in hollows people didn't know they had. A doctor on the news says it's like a phantom limb, but for companionship. The last dogs were buried 30 years ago, but today, across the world, they are unburied. Gangs raid the pet cemeteries, digging up pieces of the partners they were supposed to have. They wear faux animal fur, necklaces of bone around their necks, and begin starting fires. Toledo is the first city to burn completely. I think about my brother. Reporters say the air reeks of smoke, tear gas, and heavy splashes of quinine. Anna LaFleur dies before Congress declares her last fragrance a crime. As her bed ran out of cell stock, she might have thought it was a success. I watched a special on ABC called The Scent of Loss one night, waiting for 2 orange pills to kick in. My house is bigger now, closer to the city. I had hoped this was the beginning of something, well, something else. I miss quinine in the air and take a deep breath. Faces painted with round dark noses and dog ear hats fill the TV screen, bones rattling in primitive fury. My skin prickles and my big house feels less empty as flames fill the screen.
We've forgotten what we lost.
Anna LaFleur's voice speaks from beyond the grave, soundtrack to the destruction.
It is the purpose of art to remind